Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. I'm Bill the Dealmaker.
And I'm Pete the Rookie.
Pete who?
The Rookie.
Wait a minute, who's that to your left, Peter?
I don't know. We don't have a name for her yet.
That's Lisa.
But what's her designation?
We'll have to decide that.
We'll decide. We might decide by the end of the hour.
Yeah?
Yeah. So far I got Lisa, the girl.
That's right. Lisa.
So, Emma, my sound doesn't sound very good. Is it loud enough? Yeah? Okay. So, let me try a different plug, because something's wrong. Are we okay?
Yes.
You sure?
No.
Doesn't sound right. You're not sure?
It's recording fine.
It's recording fine. Okay. So, episode number 53, Peter.
Wow.
Huh?
Bill, that's your age.
Have you guys been
That's
doing
my
Bill,
this?
age.
act your age.
Yeah.
Act my age.
So have you been doing this for a year, like weekly? So 52 was a year?
Evidently.
There
Yeah,
you go.
I guess
Well,
so.
happy-
Holy
happy
crap.
anniversary.
Wow, it's our
Holy
1 year
crap.
It's your
anniversary.
anniversary.
Well, we hit 50 and there was no party. There were promise of donuts. Nothing
I would
happened.
have brought cake or something.
53. It's a year. So,
I didn't know.
okay, we got one more week
Well,
for
now
like,
I start a new
I want
year.
hats.
Yeah. I have all those at home too.
All right.
I could have brought those all in.
Party. Part of it. Put this down.
Party.
Party hat?
I
Party.
could be the social director.
Social director.
I'll be the social director.
Now, wait a
Actually
minute.
pretty
Before you actually volunteer to do that, you realize that you're going to be directing Pete and I.
Yeah. Well, I might have
sure
to
you wanna
expand.
do that?
I can expand. We'll expand this.
We'll expand this.
Maybe not in this, but for our socialization.
Boy, could you imagine that, Pete? Somebody
Yes,
trying
I
to
can.
direct me?
No, I'm actually a very good second supporting cast. I'm
Yeah?
very good at that.
No, I was talking about somebody trying to direct me.
Yeah, I figured that much.
No, just social.
part of
Just
the-
social.
when you're-
I can't overstep the bounds. I
when
can
you're
just make
social,
parties.
You just support the guy. You go, yep. No, get away from him. Leave him alone. Yes.
Oh,
the
I
boss.
was meaning like parties, cakes, hats,
Oh,
whatever.
he's okay. He
Whatever
enjoys himself.
social.
He'll bring the cigar.
People.
He'll bring the cigar. You bring
That's
everything
right.
else. We'll be
I set up, I meet with people. It's very social.
Okay, enough of that.
Yes.
So, 53, yes, she's right. We've been doing this a year,
Well,
I guess. We
think
do it once a
I
week.
think that's awesome for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing we have that much to
yay.
talk about, huh, Peter? We never seem to run out about how to talk about things.
No, it's like every house is different.
Yeah.
We don't talk about specific houses all the time, but we do. And like the TV shows, like how can you watch that another show? Well, every house is different. Every backyard is different, and so it'll never end.
So, are we sure we're good with sound? Because it sounds like both of them are too far away from their mics. They are?
It's all right.
Crank me up.
I just turned them up, that's all.
Wait a minute. I've got crazy mic thing happening.
Okay.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Is it better for Bill? Or
There you go. That's better.
Kidding me? Okay.
No.
All right.
You didn't adjust yours, though, Peter. I noticed that you just completely
He just keeps
ignored
talking.
me. No, he just ignores me until we come around to the way Peter thinks, then he'll act.
Everybody does that. We've been noticing. Someone asks a question, you tell them what to do. They do whatever they want in the first place. Yeah, we have to notice.
All right, so
Good luck on that.
let's get the name of the show out of the way, and then we'll figure out. We'll let all of our listeners know why Lisa's here. We need to give her a nickname. Huh?
All right. Well,
Wonder
That'll
Woman.
be our. That's how we'll wrap up. We'll think of a name along the way.
Wonder Woman.
All right.
Wonder what she's thinking.
I'm gonna have to.
She's thinking, why the hell did she come here today?
No, I'll do Wonder Woman. I just have to rethink the outfit. What?
All right, so episode number 53, Peter. We're going to call today's episode Getting Started in Real Estate with Little Money or Experience.
Oh, that'd be me.
Seems
that
like
you
it's
once?
everybody.
Was that
Yeah.
you once?
Yeah, it was actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Episode number 53, Getting Started in Real Estate with Little Money or Experience.
Okay.
So to both your points, we all start that way.
Yeah.
We all start with one deal. So Lisa has done 20 deals?
We've done 13 flips, and we've renovated 5 rentals, and we've bought other rentals that we haven't renovated. But yeah, so we're right in that 20 range.
Yeah. Good. So Lisa's experienced.
A little bit now.
Yeah. And you-
But like always learning.
Yes.
I think that's actually the key here. So
Yeah.
even when you know little, even when you know a lot, you know little.
Right.
So.
So Lisa and I have teamed up, and she's going to be working the acquisition manager's hat for me for a while.
For a little bit, yeah.
And then I think we're going to get that fine-tuned, and then maybe we were talking about the other day, maybe switching her over to the sales hat. We're not sure, but at this point, we're going to kind of work a little bit together, mostly because I shouldn't say this. This past week I haven't been, but I've been pretty busy. I didn't tell you this, but we just took on a 6th renovation.
Which one?
Jesse bought a house last night.
She bought one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is this going to be for her?
Yeah.
Where?
Right around the corner from here.
In Wallingford?
Uh-huh.
Holy cow.
So now
I saw
have
a few coming in that looked like they had potential.
yeah, that one. Where'd you come up from? Hill Road? Up the hill?
Grebe.
Oh, Grebe.
Grebe
Okay,
and
yeah.
all
That's
that
where she
way.
is over by there. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was one that was like, yeah, there were a couple. I mean, vacant houses, they just jump out at me. You can see them a mile away. But there
Right.
were a couple that you probably see them.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I need help.
Yeah.
So Lisa's going to start working with us and start going to handle the acquisition calls. And obviously, I'm being arrogant at this point, but I know a lot of people, and it's a compliment, I think, to Lisa that I would pick her because
Oh,
I think
thank
she's
you.
got a lot of qualities that we could definitely use around here. One of them might be manners.
First, you have to watch his language.
I was going to say, yeah. Well, it's not that I don't periodically a lot use some words, but
Oh, this is being recorded,
probably
so be
just
careful.
not on recorded. Yeah, I
Be
said
careful.
like I do have like it's almost like inside outside voice.
Yeah.
I do know when to use the words that you should or shouldn't use. But
Yes, Monsignor. Nice to meet you, too.
All right, good. So today's show is called Getting Started in Real Estate with Little Money or Experience. So why don't we start with you, Lisa? Why don't you tell us, how long did it take you to find your first deal? And you really do need to get closer to the mic.
yeah, our first deal. So I do this with my daughter, and so we were both working. We actually did do some education and things like that. So again, to deal with that experience, you do need to at least try to find some people that can educate you, because I think that's pretty important. So we did that, but I would say, let me see, I would say 7 months it took us to get our first deal, and
Yep.
then we actually bought 2 on the same day.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's kind of feast or famine, which
Making up for lost time.
yeah, which we were all like psyched about, and we were both working, and one was a nice little interior, and one was a rip it in half and rebuild.
Okay.
So we went to like 2 different extremes, which where it was not probably what you do out of the gate. But
Well,
we
you
did
told me once that your first renovation went like book perfect.
We did the interior. The one we just had to do interior and some windows was like classic. It was, everything was just like a dream. Yeah.
Yeah. And the second one wasn't
and
so
then
good.
the other one we bought on that same day, we ripped in half and rebuilt it, and yeah,
How do you rip a house in half?
we ripped off half of it. Well, actually, the house that we bought it was one of those houses where they just keep adding onto it, and so like most of what we ripped off were just bad additions.
Wow.
That honestly were not even connected. There were trees growing in the middle of the house, like between the walls and stuff. So they had some issues. But anyway, it was an aggressive project, I will say. But the classic first one, I would do those every single day if I could.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, but it did. It took us quite a bit of looking, preparing, figuring out how we were going to finance things, and but we did start without using much of our own money at all. We used other people's money.
Right. That's what I'm going to talk about today.
Yeah.
So you too, Peter, I think you were somewhere around 7 months before you bought your first house?
Yep.
6 months, 7 months?
Yeah, 7 or 8. But the first bunch, I was doing a lot of learning,
Yeah.
A lot of learning.
Yeah.
Part-time,
I got to stop because, Emma, I have to tell you, he sounds like he's in the other room in my headphones. He sounds like he's in the other room in my headphones.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm messing with things because, yeah.
Okay.
Do we need to do something different?
If you could tip, you're talking to the top of it. And
Yeah, the mic works.
This side.
Yeah.
Alright.
Hello.
There you go.
And so this.
It,
I don't know what this does. Does this just make me sound better?
That's much better.
Does it make
That's
me
a
sound
windscreen.
better? Does it do something?
That's a windscreen, so you don't popping ping pong noises. Ping pong.
I'm not sure it's working. Okay.
There's a wind down here, but except the three of us.
We're for the so now I sound like I'm in the echo. So so we're just hang with us, guys. We're just kind of tweaking things over here. I guess we tested it earlier, but I guess it wasn't correct. So, anyways, so Peter, so your first deal was about 7 months.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
But the first few months I was studying a lot. I wasn't really actively working at it. I was studying and learning from you. So for a few months I was just getting ready.
Okay, so
I mean, I'm not the kind of guy like, let's go buy a house today. I've talked to people like that. I just want to buy a house. Have you studied anything? No. Do you have anybody to help you? No. You're just going to make it up on your own. Yeah. Oh boy, don't do that.
right.
So
Yeah. So I went 18 months before I bought my first house. Well, actually, that's not 100% true. It was 18 months from my. I don't even know. I don't remember how I started. I think I went to a boot camp for Ron LeGrand, and then I came home, and then I went back again. And when I came back the second time, I bought a house like the first month. So, but I was talking to Emma yesterday in the car, and she said that I should tell this story. So I was 17 years old when I moved out of my mom and dad's house. I was still in high school, and I was living with a girl that actually had a baby. It wasn't my baby, but she had a baby, and we lived together for a while. My rent was $425 a month. And I'll never forget it. I bought Carlton Sheets course for $330, which, by the way, was the rent money.
yeah, 420. Yeah,
Yeah,
in a week of food.
Yeah, right.
Needless to say, the temperature in that apartment was cold as hell for about 10 days. It took her about 10 days to get over.
Is that because you didn't have money for the heat bill?
No,
No.
no.
What was it?
Yeah, okay,
So
Peter.
that's a cold shoulder.
See, in my house, if I buy stuff, my wife is so happy about it.
Yeah, yeah. That's when you have money.
That's when you have to make all the decisions coming and going. But she wasn't happy about it, Bill?
No. So I tore through Carlton Sheets course because I was 17 when I first started. I don't know why. I just always wanted to buy real estate, and just thought it was just amazing that how it could be done. And anyways, I tore through the course, and I really didn't do anything. And then probably that was when I was 17 or 18, and then when I was 23, I bought a gas station, and I used Carlton Sheets tactics to buy the gas station, and I owned the gas station for like, I don't know, 26 or 27 years, I think. And then in the interim, before I sold the gas station, I had run into Ron LeGrand, who, as far as I'm concerned, is the Carlton Sheets of today.
Yeah.
Em, we okay? Yeah. Okay, because it still doesn't sound good.
Maybe your headphones are bugging you.
No, she keeps changing it. I could hear her changing it.
Oh.
So anyways, Carlton Sheets, I think, Ron LeGrand is the new Carlton Sheets. So he had amazing things to teach. I don't know about these days. We went to a seminar of his too recently, and I think he's got a lot of old tricks. But anyways, he's really into automation these days, and I'm not sure that that's 100% of the way that you could. I mean, it helps, but I think he leaves a lot of deals on the table.
And it's not easy to start. We can't start automated.
Right.
I mean, who can just like buy all that stuff and just, well, you have to experience it yourself first.
Right.
You know, you have to go through the procedure and the steps and the phone calls to see how it really works. How are you going to have someone else do your job if you don't know how to do it? So
Right.
you got to start.
So Lisa, when you first started, which by the way, how long ago was that? Year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 35 years,
Active, probably 3.
3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you said that it got you, it took you what'd you say?
7-8 months to get our first deal.
And what did you do in those 7 or 8 months? What were the things that you were doing?
Well, we mostly, I will say the first couple months we took time to set up companies and the legal parts of it, so I might just take those off the table. But then it really was going out looking at houses. It was, we started meeting realtors. We started just looking at houses. We started figuring out how to like analyze them. We were putting in offers, so those kinds of things. It was the steps to do it, and then we just kept refining it because initially our offers were stupid low.
Right.
I mean, if they were accepted, they would have been like gold. But I mean, we weren't. We were doing foreclosures, and we were probably offering maybe less than half of what the bank wanted on something that just came out. Some of the things you just don't really realize. So they weren't getting accepted. We were spending a good amount of time on offers. But really, to me, that's just education anyway. So I never really feel bad. I don't really feel like we were wasting our time. And then so it really was networking and learning how to analyze, which the analyzing is, a little bit hard because you're not only looking at what you want to offer, but you have to figure out the rehabs, which we didn't know much about. And then you have to kind of understand your market and what you're going to sell it at. So there was quite a bit of learning curve in that analysis.
Right.
So that's
All
what
right,
we
so,
did.
So the
and
magic
we got
question is this. If you had to start over again today, would it be different? And if so, how much?
It would be different, because I would know more. No, but assuming I didn't know anything investment-wise, I would say that I would take action sooner. We did, because action is the key in this. It's not just thinking about the houses, it's not just looking, it's not just analyzing. It's really, actually out there doing stuff, like just meeting and people, engaging and making offers.
Right.
So I would do that a lot sooner. We were hesitant. Like I said, the ones we put in were stupid low,
But they were safe.
but they were safe because we knew, right? Yeah, you want to be like so safe that we weren't even in the game. Like literally not in the game. But so I would just take action sooner. We did get into like you can always overeducate. And we were like maybe in a little paralysis with that, You spend a lot of time like doing all the stuff and business cards and names and colors and which are very helpful for us now. But in the beginning, I would just get a deal.
Right.
I would say just get a deal and get it fast.
Right. And screw it up.
Screw it up. You're going to learn it because even what did we wait 7 or 8 months? We still, like I said, one went great. One was our biggest learning experience ever. So you just got to get out there and do it.
It's funny, I was writing some copy the other day for one of our websites, a new website that we're going to talk about today that's going up hopefully next week. And I was thinking about the definition of a pro. What's the definition of a pro? Because Pete's been joking around like, I know he's joking around it, but, what's an
You think I'm
apprentice?
joking?
Well, it's a joke to me.
Damn.
So, what's an apprentice? Because it's like rookie, apprentice, and pro type of thing is what, kind of like the gist of it. So, as I was kind of like, because like what you're saying, what I try to do is I try to do things two-dimensionally. Like, so if I have this idea in my head, I like to like put it on paper, like two-dimensionally, like draw it on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Or physically put it into the environment so I can see what it looks like. Like if you envision the couch should be on the wall by the fireplace, put the couch on the wall by the fireplace and see if it fits,
Right.
or measure it first and see if it'll fit, you know what I mean? But you're in the physical universe actually doing things instead of just doing things in your head. And one of the things that I noticed, and because you've been hanging around with us now for probably a year, all the meetups and the workshops.
Getting there probably.
There are a lot of people that just work on their ideas.
Mm-hmm.
They don't work on what they physically should be doing. It's just all about their thoughts,
Right.
right? And so it's like mind education. And what you're saying is very important because the real education is actually doing it.
Right.
Because what you think is going to happen and what happens almost inevitably never is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the only way that changes is if you have a mentor that's already done it,
Mm-hmm.
or a coach that's already done it, right? No matter what arena you're in, if you get somebody, if you want to make $1 million, you talk to a guy that has $1 million because he can give you some of the pitfalls and the ins and outs of what's going on,
Right.
right? And that's the purpose of a coach or a mentor, is to shortcut some of the experiences you think you want to try that aren't going to work. Like,
Right.
for example, I think the key thing that you said in your explanation to me, A, having gone through it myself, B, having a lot of coaching clients, and C, getting Peter and Jesse through it. Peter's further along than Jesse, which, by the way, she just bought a house, and now she's all over me like, I got to go to work, I got to make money now. So I think she's back on board, finally. After a wedding and a house, we're finally through it 10 months later.
Nothing like reality.
Yeah, exactly. We tell her she's got a big girl pants on. But I think what you said is that when you first started, I don't know how you said it, like you didn't know what you didn't know. Kind of like you were making offers and they were too low, and you were like, you thought that was the right thing to do. You were being safe, but you were not even, the people
We were
that
not in the game.
Yeah, so the people were like the banks and the people you're dealing with and realtors, they're kind of like snickering, like they're silently disagreeing, instead of saying, hey, you can't do that, and try to convince you, because when you do that with someone, they sometimes, they dig their heels in and like, well, screw you. If you don't want to do
Right.
it, I'll get another realtor and they'll do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you
Right.
don't know.
No, you don't know.
And the only way. So going back to what I was saying, I think, and this is not something that's like written in stone, I definitely want to talk to everybody about it. I think a pro should be at least through 10 houses. I think that's safe. I can't decide if it's 10 or 20,
Yeah.
but I think a professional has to at least be through 10 houses before they can actually like do it on their own and be comfortable and handle a lot of the situations. Definitely 5 before you even come out of the ether. You got to at least do 5 houses before you come out of any kind of your own head, before you actually consider that what you're doing may not be correct.
Yeah. I would probably say 10 is probably like a fair number. I mean, I've done more, and my hesitation is because I've done more than that, and I don't think I'm a pro.
Right.
But I don't know that I will ever think that of me. But I do talk to so many people, and they're always just like, "Oh my God, you like know so much," and I'm always like, "Do I?" Like I feel like every single day I learn.
Right.
So
I do too.
Right. So I knew I'll never classify myself as a pro, but I do know there's a significant difference in the investors that I talk to that have done 1 or 2 versus 15 or more. You know, like if I was going to say like who's like the pro, like I call them experts, and they're just doing 10 a month. Like that's a whole different other stratosphere, which is what I'm actually. We all want to get there, but I want to get there, but kind of doing the steps along the way. But yeah, so I don't know. Pros are tough because I feel like every single deal is new. Like I know there's a few things that I just am not familiar with and are comfortable with yet. So,
Right.
but yes, to your point, I would say 10.
Right.
10 is a good number.
Yeah.
You have
we still
learned a
need
lot.
we still need a definition for pro, and I think you said something once that answered it. You're going to say something about pro, because you still don't think you know everything. I don't think anybody thinks
don't
it.
think
So that
I
can't
ever
be,
will. Yeah.
No, so that's not the definition. What
Maybe
should we do with the
experience.
definition
What is
to
the
give a
definition?
fair estimation?
Well, I think what a professional is someone that can handle the situation.
Yeah.
So in other words, they have enough tools in their toolbox that they could just kind of, you're not pulling it out of your ass, but you have some, like for example, I'm selling the house in Middletown, and I had to call the electric company and have them do an EMF study, electrical magnetic field study.
Mm-hmm. And the power lines.
Because they
Next
had
to the
power
property.
lines next to the property, and the people they were it's a professor from the university. I never heard of that. I mean, I've done hundreds of houses and never even knew it existed.
Mm.
And the irony of it all is, as I went there, because they made me go there because they wanted the owner there, they didn't want anybody else. They tried to get my realtor and other people. They wanted me there. And the irony of the whole thing is when I said to the guy, he said that there's a 0.8 something. I don't even know what it was. As a reading, I said to him, well, what's dangerous? And he says, oh, well, there is no scale. There's no evidence that that magnetic fields do anything to a human being.
No, it's
I'm thinking, why are we here then? Why are we doing this? It's not, it's like asbestos, or alcohol. It's like 0.8 is drunk. You know what I mean? It's like there was no stipulation. It was just, we're just here measuring it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, thank you very much for wasting an hour of my life.
Yep.
But the owner was happy. So to me, it was what I call bribe money.
Yeah.
We talk about that all the time. The bribe money when I sell a house. It's like, how much do I have to pay? How much do I have to fix or pay them to get them to sign the contract?
Mm-hmm.
When you do a $43,000 renovation on a house and the inspector comes in and finds $14,000 worth of work, it's bribe money. You just, which by the way, that house I settled at $6,300. I called it bribe money.
Mm.
I fixed things that didn't need to be fixed, or were just what they thought needed to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, there's some real things, but then there's just things people think,
right?
And if they think it's real, to them it is.
Right. But I think the other thing that you said, Lisa, was you wanted to be safe.
That was me.
Well, our number, you actually described it that way.
That's what it is.
I told the facts. Yeah, they were crazy.
If you don't know how something works,
Yeah.
you don't want to stick your finger in it.
Right.
Like, to put your no.
Yeah.
So you have to.
They were safe. I mean, if we'd gone on at that low price, we still would have freaked out, even though they were. They would have been money because
What do we
our
do now?
prices were so low. But I mean, caution. You're very cautious in the beginning.
Right.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, and that's natural.
Right. Yeah. So what would you say if I told you that if I met you before all that, and I said to you, Lisa, I have a way that you can buy real estate and have absolutely no risk? Would you believe me?
Would I believe you? I would believe you because you've done it. I would definitely want to understand it, but I mean, I would believe you enough.
Right, because that's what you guys are talking about is that you're afraid that you're going to get into a bad deal. Right, at the end of the day, that's what everybody worries about. Am I going to get stuck with a bad deal? Right, and what's the definition of a bad deal? Money going out, money not coming in. Right, all out, no in. Right, I mean, that's like totally like what we all fear. I'm stuck with this thing, and all I do is keep, I don't have enough income. I don't have enough income to outweigh it to make sure that I can win.
Yeah.
I can win the game. I don't have enough resources.
I drove by a commercial building. It's like a small office, something or other, on the way down here. I've been passing this thing for months, and I talked to the guy 9 months, maybe a year ago now, and it's still for sale, and it's just sitting there, sitting there. It looks like for sale. It looks like for sale by owner. I don't know how do you do it. I was thinking, should I call him and try to do like a lease option or commercial?
Yes.
No, I thought
call him for something.
Yes.
He's stuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a motivated seller.
He must be by now. Which every month he's spending money, so whatever profit he was imagining, last thing, cha-ching, cha-ching. And then will I ever sell it? Will I ever sell it? Will I ever? And it's just sitting there.
All right, good. So let's do this. Let's go through the 4 simple ways that I buy every house. Okay, and they're very simple, or how I find a house and get a house. And then I want to come back to doing a deal without risk. Okay, so let's cover both of them, but let's just do one at a time. Okay, so the 4 simple ways, and I say they're simple because they're too simple and people don't follow them. We okay with sounding? Okay, you change it again? Okay, well, it sounds like it. That's just me now, because now I have an echo. Yeah. Anyways,
we don't hear an echo. Do you hear an echo?
What? No. There's no echo.
Say it again, Bill. Say it again.
Yeah, this is what Peter does: is he distracts me. Actually, it showed up in our surveys. Did you read the surveys?
No.
Yeah,
What
it
happened?
showed up in the surveys
What happened?
that I'm on some. We're on some point. We get distracted.
Did I get blamed? Or?
Yes.
I did. You're welcome.
All right, so the 4 simple ways. This is how I buy every single house, and I've gone over this, and it's just too simple, and you're going to think it's too simple, and you're not going to do it. So the first thing you need to do you remember this? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think I do.
Okay. The first thing you need to do is you need to find a motivated seller and communicate to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you just need to find them. So what does that mean? Find a motivated seller. Well, do a little bit of research. I mean, I have stuff online that you can do this, like find out where most amount of houses are being sold, all that kind of stuff. Get in a busy market that's already busy, and just get in there and start talking about, start talking to motivated sellers. What's a motivated seller? Well, we can define them. Probate, those are usually motivated sellers.
Mm-hmm.
Divorce people, that's a motivated seller, usually. And I'm not saying all of them are, but I'm just saying if you're in that arena, the likelihood of finding somebody will be much quicker than if you go other places.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do foreclosure or pre-foreclosure.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, in some ways, it's easy to also like talk about what's not a motivated
Right.
seller, because foreclosures are not, banks are not motivated.
Right.
They may
Well,
get there, but they're typically
Foreclosure and pre-foreclosure are usually before the bank takes them over.
well, the pre's.
Well, foreclosure is too.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because foreclosure has to go through the court process. So while they're doing that,
Oh,
that's in
you're
the
done, yeah.
foreclosure process. Once they foreclose, then it becomes a bank-owned property.
Right.
Okay, so a pre-court foreclosure is like 1 to 3 months late on the mortgage. Most banks, not every bank, but almost every bank will foreclose on the 4th month. And then it'll go 4 months to, like in Connecticut, it's a 6-month process sometimes, depending if the person that's being foreclosed on fights or not.
So the pre-foreclosures, just as they're beginning to get behind, why is it that you don't focus on those? That might be interesting for people to.
It's a good market,
Yeah.
and I did do those in the beginning, but I don't. There to me, there's a big difference between motivated and desperate.
Right.
So in other words,
Because
they're
early
losing
on,
their
some of
house.
them aren't as desperate. Early on, they're a little bit more motivated
Right.
to prevent the situation.
But here's the thing: is they're losing their house and they don't want to leave, so they're
Right.
fighting to stay in the house because
right,
of school district or because of husband's job or because somebody could walk to work or, there's a whole bunch of reasons.
Gotcha.
The brother lives across the street. They love the neighborhood. Blah blah. They've been there
Yeah.
20 years,
Yep.
whatever. It's just a lot harder to work with those people.
Right.
It's a good market. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I bought a lot of houses that way, but and I've caught up a lot of payments. I mean,
Right, exactly.
that's a great way to buy subject to. I mean, realize my first 30 or 40 deals was subject to.
Right. Because I was
You know.
going to say, I thought those were actually some good to look for, subject twos and different things like
I
that.
just
but-
don't market them
Gotcha.
because usually somebody that's behind on their bills doesn't open their mail, and they're very difficult to get to because they're ignoring the whole world. Okay, because everybody wants something from them, and they're just collapsed. Okay, so I mean, it's a market. I found much better ways to find those people.
Yep.
And I do get them by accident, but not often.
Yep.
All right, so
So you do-
foreclosure, pre-foreclosure,
Yep.
those are two good ways.
Probates, you do.
Probate are my favorite.
Probates are good. Yeah, we do
Probates are my
find quite
favorite.
a few with probate.
Yeah, and there is no list for that.
Yeah.
You have a wholesale guy that does something, but
We do get a list in the counties that we're in.
yeah, but he
Yes.
works at that list. It's not a simple
Yeah.
list to get.
That's right.
Divorce is another one. Relocation is another big one. Finding those people is a little bit difficult, but when you find them, they're really motivated.
Mhm.
They, like I bought a house in Southington one time. Guy was moving to Canada, Toronto. His wife was from Toronto, and he was working for Sikorsky or something like that. I'm guessing, but I think he went from like $130,000 a year, like $200,000 a year to move.
Right.
And he was like, he wasn't going to let his house stop him. And he had tried to sell it. He had 3 months to do it and couldn't do it. And it was literally weeks before he had to move. And he called me in, and we ended up doing a lease option. And I bought this house and sold it. I think we made $18,000 or something off of it in the course of a year, or 18 months or something like that. So just on the sale, and then we had
Right.
cash flow and all that stuff too. But it's definitely all right. So locating and communicating to. You don't just locate them. You have to communicate to them. So you have to send a letter. Bandit signs work really good. Mostly we do direct mail.
Direct mail does work.
I've done, as you guys know, I've spent, $7,000 to $9,000 a month for many years on marketing, and I have lots of stories to tell, if I can remember them all. But we kind of narrowed it down to just a handful of marketing campaigns, which is what I teach. because they work.
And they don't cost $7,000.
They don't cost
No.
'Cause
$7,000.
I wouldn't
Right.
be here. You wouldn't
Yeah.
be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most people can't afford to do that.
Yeah, most of my clients start out with about $50, $50 or $100 for marketing, and they start getting leads.
Yeah.
All right. So number one, you find and communicate to a motivated seller.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, you tell them what you do. We buy houses. Now, why would that be in the formula?
You would think you don't have to do that, but they don't really know, and they want to hear it from you, and not just we buy houses. You want to tell them a little bit so
Right.
you can say things that they're looking for. You matching like what their situation is. You're saying something. Oh yeah, that's me. You're the guy. You come here.
So one of the things I talk about in the seminars a lot is message to market match. Okay? So number one is your market. Number two is your message. Right? So you got to have a message to market match. So you have to tell them, we buy houses and here's what we do. Because most people think, and I think I'm looking at you, Lisa, because I know you've done enough presentations. How many people have you talked to that just think that when it's time to sell a house, they just need to find a realtor and that's the only way that they could sell a house?
They do. I would say that is the number one thing that people think. The second thing they think, which I know you're going to get into, is you're just going to give them a seriously low cash offer. So those are the two. They think they're either going to get a very low cash offer or they're going to sell it with a realtor.
Okay, so
there's
let's
nothing in the
just
middle
break
of
that
those.
down. So
Yeah.
I think there is something in the middle.
No, there is, but in their minds, those are the
So they
two
think they can
options.
sell it with a realtor.
Right.
They can for sale by owner it and
Yeah.
save the fees, or they can sell it to an investor and the realtor takes fees, the for sale by owner takes work, and the investor takes all the profit.
Right.
Which is why we suggest when we're talking to our clients, don't you call yourself a real estate investor, you call yourself a real estate entrepreneur. Because an investor means that you have money and you're going to be putting your own money in, which is not really true. It's kind of a lie. So be an entrepreneur, because an entrepreneur actually puts resources together to keep the deal moving, which is really what you're doing. You're finding a money guy, you're finding a contractor, you're finding the buyer, you're finding the seller, and you're coordinating or orchestrating or choreographing everything together.
Right.
And that's your job. So you should be a real estate entrepreneur, not a real estate investor. It's just a connotation of what you're saying. I'm a real estate investor. When you say to somebody, oh, you have a house for sale, I'm an investor. First, like you said, first thing they think is, well, I'm not ready to sell on 40 cents on the dollar. Because they
That's
think
right.
the only way you know how to make money is to do that.
Right. Even people that call,
Right.
actually, they literally are like, I'm calling you, but I know you're going to give me a low offer. And you just have to just like talk them through that right away,
We have scripts for that. Yeah.
Right.
So the important thing is that what I try to do is, with the exception of direct mail, everything else goes to a free recorded message, and my message is 5 or 6 minutes long. Why is it 5 or 6 minutes long? Because it takes that long to go through all the different scenarios of how we buy houses. Okay,
Right.
and if they're motivated, they will listen. If they are not, for those of you that are listening, thinking it's 5 or 6 minute message, who would listen to that? The guy you're looking for. The other 99 that called, they can go to hell. Let them hang up. I'm cool. I'm looking for the one guy that's going to stay on the phone call, or the girl that's going to stay on the phone, so we
Right.
can talk to them. Because it only takes one. That's all you need is one.
Yep.
All right. So, number one, you're going to find a motivated seller and communicate to them. Number two, you're going to tell them what you do. Tell them what you do. We buy houses, and here's how. Okay. Number three, you're going to find out what they need and want. Right? Now, you would think that a seller wants to sell. Correct?
That is typical
on
assumption.
the face. On the face, you would
Buyer
think.
wants to buy, seller
Yeah.
wants to sell.
Right.
Hater
So-
wants to hate.
Yeah, exactly. But that's not necessarily the case, because what you'll find out after you've made a lot of offers is number one, they don't want to sell you the house when you first meet them. What they're looking for is an offer, because they're trying to get your reality and their reality and see if they're the same. I mean, if you have a $200,000 house and I'm an investor and I come along and say, well, I'll give you $80,000. Yeah, I made you an offer, but we're so far apart, we need a travel agency.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't work. So the first thing they want is an offer. They don't want to sell you the house. They want to make sure you and them match. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, and I can't emphasize this enough, and it may take you, I think it took you, Peter, probably 4 or 5 months before you actually realized how significant this comment is. And it usually takes talking to sellers yourself personally to figure this out. But when you figure out what problem they're trying to solve, it changes everything. Because usually the only two reasons why somebody would sell a house is A, they need cash, or B, that the house is just causing a problem and they want the problem gone. Right?
That's right.
Those are the only two reasons why somebody would technically sell a house.
And you can't imagine that a house would be a problem, but some of the
Right.
scenarios we've seen, the police, it's in my way. I got a house here. I got to go to Tucson, and it's
Well,
not
we
finished.
were in that house in Newington a couple weeks ago or a week ago, and the guy's he got divorced.
Yeah.
Right, and it took us quite a while to figure this out. It took me quite a while. I mean, we sat with him for 90 minutes. We had a few phone conversations with him. At the very end is when I figured out what the problem was, and I missed it. And the problem was that he had a house that he had bought with his ex-wife, bought the ex-wife out, but the deed was still in her name. Right? In other words, I don't know why any attorney would let him do that, but he actually paid her $100 and something thousand and didn't get the deed put in his name. So it was still in her name. Now he's got a fiancée. And guess what the fiancée doesn't want to do?
Move into her house.
Exactly. And it took us all that time to figure that out.
That's pretty common, though, too. Like, I think sometimes people don't even realize what their driving force is. And so as
they work with us,
as
they figure it out.
buyers or entrepreneurs, whatever we call ourselves, you really start with, because they really say, I want to sell my house, I want to get cash, and I want to move. And then as you go through it, you find there's really something else. Like, the more and more I talk to them, like, you really find what's their driving force.
Right.
And it's not always, I just want cash and I want to move. There's
Right.
something else behind it, which, you just kind of have to listen for.
And very often when you figure out what that is, then you can get creative on how you purchase
Right.
a house, because
That's right.
sometimes writing them a check. I was in a house with Michael a couple weeks ago, and the guy point blank said to me, "I have plenty of money." He has his mother's house, right? I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. He has his mother's house that had he went through the 5-year look back period. She was older and had Alzheimer's, so he put the house in his name to save her the house
Right.
or the money, right? What he didn't realize is that once he put it in his name, he now doesn't live in the property anymore, so he has capital gains tax to deal with. See? So now all of a sudden he doesn't know that until we sat with him. He wasn't thinking with that, and he was actually an attorney. He wasn't thinking with that. And now all of a sudden he poses himself with a 38 or 40% problem. So he's selling a house for $200,000. That means $70,000 or $80,000 is going to capital gains tax.
Right.
And he owns the house free and clear. So now we propose to him that we can do a mortgage, and he only pays on that tax as the money gets collected, and we become the solution, because now he doesn't have to throw away $80,000.
Right.
Right. So giving him the cash in that particular case was a detriment to him.
Exactly.
So making the offer is the correct way. They're doing it the correct way.
Yep.
So that's why I say step number 3 is find out what they need and want. Okay, and then step 4 is actually give them what they ask for. Right. So that brings me on now. I'm going to skip over the last one is self-explanatory. That brings us right into how do you get started in real estate with little money or no experience. If you do some of the things that we're talking about here, the 4 steps, and you get to the point where they say this is what I need and want. Like, for example, I'll say to you, how much do you want for your house? And you'll say $100,000, and it's worth $100,000. Okay, and you've been through my 7 steps of how to buy property. You know that that's a slot deal, which is a sandwich lease option transaction. So what you say to the person is okay, you want $100,000, and you know that that's all it's worth. There's no equity in the property because they owe $100,000, or they're just stuck on that number.
Right.
Okay. What you immediately say after that is okay, if I give you $100,000 for your house, will you sell it to me today? And when they say yes, you say, okay, this is how it works, and you pitch them a slot deal. And you explain to them what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a delayed cash out. I'm going to go find a buyer, and we're going to put a buyer in there, and they're going to rent from you for 2 years until we can get them a favorable mortgage, and actually that mortgage is going to buy out your mortgage, and you're going to get off the deed. And they're going to rent from you and pay all the expenses and pay all the maintenance and do everything while they're in the house.
While they're in it, right.
And by the way, my fee, I'm going to make my own fee because I'm going to sell the house for 110 instead of 100. I'm going to take the $10,000 as a fee, and I could do that without being a realtor because I actually signed an option agreement, right? And I'm part owner of the property, and it can work.
Right.
Okay, so I kind of just flew through that.
You didn't.
But the reason why is because I want to get to the point of the show where we're talking about getting started in real estate without money, with little money or experience. How hard is it to do a slot deal? You do one,
Yeah.
and they're not that hard.
Yeah.
How hard is it to do a rent-to-own deal?
They're not hard.
So that's what we call a lease option.
Yeah.
So the only thing you need to know is that a lease option has to have about 15% equity. Okay, a slot deal has no equity. An option deal has 10% equity. Just know those numbers.
Right.
And that's all you need to know. That's the only experience you need.
Right. I guess it's like anything else. It's like you need to know there's numbers, and then the process is just the process. Once you know the process, you're finding, how to find the buyers, how to find them, how to put it all together. It's just
Okay, so
experience.
you
Just
don't
learning.
even need experience. Let's talk about that because it's experience that you'll gain. Absolutely.
Right, but I'm saying you just need to know how to go about it.
So let's
Because
just.
I think as people listen to that, we don't want to oversimplify. You need to understand how to you make the offer. Now what do I do?
Yeah, but
which is part of what. You
But what's
guys
the
are
real
working
thing
with.
holding people back? What's scaring people? They don't know the numbers.
They don't know the numbers.
They don't know what
right.
they
They don't
should
know how to
do.
figure it
They
out,
don't know
right.
what they shouldn't do. They don't have the formula to do it. They don't know how much you should spend. I talked to. Hold your thought. I'm on a diversion.
He's on a roll. Watch it.
I was working with somebody I know who was a broker.
He's rolling.
He was a broker.
Yeah.
And he wanted to buy a house
Yeah.
and renovate it. I was standing with his son, and he wasn't sure I said, well, how much is the house? How much will it sell for? Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, good. How much do you think it costs to renovate it? Good. That's what you should pay. And they looked at each other. What? And the kid goes, I told you it was too high. That's what you should pay. I told you. But they didn't have a formula.
Right.
They looked, how'd you do this? Is
Well,
I'm
it's
a
all
real
numbers.
estate
It's all
professional.
numbers. It's numbers, and then
yeah,
just.
but
what
I
to do
learned
with
it from Bill.
Yeah,
I didn't make
I know.
I didn't do a bunch of
It's
deals
not
and
hard,
make
that's
it
what
up.
I'm saying.
I didn't
It's-
crunch numbers. Well, it cost me this much, and if it cost me that much to fix it, maybe I'll make that much. Well, if I and guess. Formulas.
Yeah, and those formulas only
Yeah.
came from giving over 3,000 offers. I had to keep simplifying it.
He
so
did
I
the
can-
work. There's only two ways you can learn something: first hand, second hand.
But let's get back on topic.
But yeah,
there.
so I was gonna say we'll.
I wasn't
stick
that
back
far off,
to,
was I?
No, you're all right.
All right.
So when you ask how
let's-
hard is it,
so
it's not.
let's
It's not
just
hard.
dumb it way down.
You go way
let's
down.
just dumb it way down.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't mean dumb as a derogatory term. I just mean let's make it really
Basics.
simple. Could you have you in your life picked up a newspaper and decided you wanted to rent an apartment at some point in your life?
Yes.
Okay. You haven't?
No, I really haven't.
Okay.
But that's okay. But I've done it. I've done it for other people.
So you pick
like
up a
my daughter.
newspaper,
Yeah.
right? And you call the ad, and you find out what the deal is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So you go look at the apartment, and then you go through the owner's process, whatever that may be, to qualify for the
Exactly.
apartment.
Right.
And then you move in.
Yeah.
As long as you meet the qualifications.
That's right.
Okay. So is that hard?
No.
Okay. If you could do that, you can buy houses.
Exactly.
Because one of the things I did when I first started was I would just call rentals. And I would point blank ask them on the phone, would you consider renting with an option to buy? Right? And out of 10 phone calls or 15 phone calls, somebody would say yes. And I would go over to that person's place and I would look at it and I would say, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to pay you $60,000. Have a sign an option for $60,000, and I want to rent, but I'm going to sub-rent it. I want you to understand that I'm going to sub-rent it, so I'm going to rent it to my buyer. And you just did a lease option deal.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I mean, I call that house hacking, right? You could live in the house yourself and then turn around and sell it in 6 months. You can move in, live in there, pay a rent for 6 months, and then advertise the house for sale because you've got the option, right?
Right.
You can turn around and sell it to somebody, right? And that's really, and so now here's the point that I want to make. So in that scenario, if I were to come to you and you were the landlord, and I would say to you, Lisa, how much do you want for the house? Let's role play it. How much do you want for this condo?
$125,000.
Okay, so if I pay you $125,000, would you sell me the condo?
I would.
Okay, good. So
I would.
How much do you want per month?
I hadn't really thought about monthly
Okay.
because I was thinking just a cash or payout.
No, I'm
Okay.
saying
So-
you're calling a person that's renting. They have it for
Oh,
rent.
you're renting.
anyways.
Oh, okay. We're renting it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do easy numbers. $1,000.
Okay, so
Thousand.
so is it possible that I can pay you $1,000 a month and have an option to buy this with or a 2-year option to buy this? So I'll pay you $1,000 a month, and if I can come up with 120 grand from me or from one of my buyers, you would sell me the condo. 125,000.
125. Yeah.
So if
Okay.
I were to come up with 125,000 and pay you, and in the meantime, I'm going to pay you $1,000 a month while I'm looking for my buyer. Is that
Right.
okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You just made a deal.
Right. Because
Okay.
I'm going to rent it anyway, is what you're saying. I'm
Right.
renting it anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the option is just an upside. Yeah, I'll sell it for that much, and maybe that much is too much money. But here's the thing: 81% of the population does not qualify for a mortgage. So if that house is really worth 115 and you're selling it for 130, does it really matter? No,
Right.
because you'll find somebody with a deposit.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you're really nervous, then what I would do is say, okay, Lisa, what I want to do is I want to be able to have a couple months to find a buyer. Can I get a couple months free? Which is pushing it on a rent to own, but when you're actually in presentations, that happens a lot. I mean, Pink
Right.
just did it. You got 3 months, right?
Right.
You got 3 months. You just by flapping your lips, you got 3 months with the rent-free mortgage.
Time. Or,
Yeah,
Time.
I started in May. I haven't made a payment yet to him.
Yeah, and you're collecting from your tenant.
We got 2 checks. So I spent money. I actually bought this as owner financing, this particular one, but I paid closing costs.
Right.
That's not bad. I own it for closing costs.
Right.
Yeah,
The
that's
rest
not
will,
bad at
the
all.
rest will pay itself.
Yeah.
1900.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So Lisa.
Yes,
you-
we're
who-
still role playing.
So who? So I'm going to rent from you. So who
You
owns
are.
this condo?
I still own it.
Okay. So who has all the responsibility?
Well, that would still be me.
Right. So what's the worst? What's
Which
the
is
worst
okay.
case? What's the worst case scenario if I don't perform? What are you going to do?
If you're renting, I would just evict you.
Okay. Or tell me I got to get out.
Right. Yep.
And you don't even have to evict me
Yeah.
as long as I'm willing to just leave.
That's right.
So if I tell you I can't get this thing, so if I've had it for 30 days and I haven't paid you, I mean for 90 days and I haven't paid you, then at that point I know that I can't handle it, right? So the only real risk here is a little bit of dust on my name. Like you're going to, use a few choice words for me, you're going to be pissed off at me, you're going to be blah, 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 which is very uncomfortable, I understand, for most people. But that's the worst that can happen.
Right.
I might have given you $10 or $100 for the option consideration deposit, and I'm going to lose that. That's it.
Right.
That's it. That's it. There's nothing else. I might have lost some marketing money for trying to market it, that I have this condo for sale that you can rent for $1,300 a month and pay $130,000 for, and it's no bank qualifying because it is, right?
Right.
But that's it. So, what money and what experience did you need to have to do that deal?
Not much. You just got most of it right now.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you could do a slot deal. You can do which is my deal number 1. You can do an option deal, which is my deal number 2.
Yeah.
You can do a lease option deal, which is my deal number 3. You could do a wholesale deal, which I don't suggest, but you could. So there's 4 out of the 7 that you don't have the title in your name, and there's absolutely no risk and very little experience.
Right.
Okay? You don't have to be afraid of anything. The most thing you have to be afraid of is yourself. Getting up in the morning and actually doing what you need to do, like post an ad on Craigslist, house for sale, no bank qualifying, call me, and put your recorded message on there. Which, by the way, I use Freedom Voice. Yeah, freedomvoice.com. So just go to freedomvoice.com and you can create a message. It's $9 a month for a mailbox. You create a message and people call there and they leave you a message, and there you go. You automated it. and then you just call people back and you start dealing with the house. Now that is I want you to know that the way we do it is a lot different than that. We're very automated, but we have volume. When you're doing your first house, that's all you need is just to do that. You know, when you start doing 7 or 8 houses a month like I was doing, and we're getting back to doing that, yeah, you need to have acquisition managers and you need to have all that stuff. Okay, which is the last point that I want to bring up. So you said that. So did I cover getting started with real estate with little money or experience? You
did.
You feel like we've touched.
I think so, because I think you also gave the perspective and the glimpse into the process of how to do it too, which is, you know, the other end of that fear that people have. They don't know how to do it, but yeah, I think you did.
So go to flippinghouses.club, flippinghouses.club, and you can see the 10 videos that we have there. Before this show, in the next 5 minutes, we have an actual surprise for everybody today. We're going to actually release our new program today. So I'm going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. But for right now, I wanted to go back to what you originally said. I wanted to touch upon this. So when you first started, you spent 7 months getting
stuff.
Yeah. So I understand the part about wanting to have an entity and a business name and business cards and all that kind of conservative type think. Okay. But I have a much different philosophy on that. Okay. So Peter, when you came to me and said you wanted to get started, what did I tell you to do?
Get started.
Go. Just go.
So I showed you I showed you what to mail and who to mail to.
Right.
Right. So I showed you where to get the list.
Yep.
And I showed you what to write. And you actually did it. So you sent out like what, 25 letters?
Yeah.
So you spent like $25. And a week later, what happened?
I called you. Said, Bill, I got a house. Can you come look at it with me? I got a house.
They're calling me.
What do I do now?
My phone's ringing.
But if you mail to the right list, then you may not even need my help. Which I'm going to show you how to get my help in a few minutes. We have something very cool that we're going to release. But my point is that you didn't have to get. Now, when did you get your business entity? When did you get your actual business?
Last month.
Yeah.
After I closed on the condo.
Right.
I just closed on it and then put it into the LLC.
Right.
After.
So what I did is I had Peter actually do his first deal, and in the formulation of the first deal, he actually put together his LLC. Right. So the attorney's already there. You already have money in place to do it. So for another $300-400 or whatever it is, he just creates the entity. That's the time to do it. Right. See, everything in real estate has a time and not a time. And I think what happens is with very new investors, including myself, is you don't know what you need or what you don't need to do a deal. So you're trying to cover everything before you get there. Right? So you don't need to have an entity to make offers on a property.
Absolutely. You don't need to do it. And you can also do it simultaneously. Like, you know, we were being very clinical and linear about things.
Right.
So, you know, but, you know, you just have to start going out and getting deals and looking at them. And then you can even create your LLC in the process of buying it. You don't even have to wait till after. So there's a lot of ways to go about it that you can do it quicker.
Right.
I would agree.
So having all those entities, I mean, literally, if you just did some marketing or talked to a motivated seller, which happens to a lot of callers. I mean, we get probably anywhere from 4 to 6 support tickets a month, right, Pete? Of people that listen to a podcast and actually bought a house, right? So you'll stumble.
They went and did it.
Yeah,
you just have to go. And
or
do it.
I think what happens is most of
it.
them just stumble upon them. Like my sister had a boyfriend, or you know, my cousin's uncle, or they actually knew somebody that was willing to do what we're talking about, and they just repeated what we said on the podcast, and they said yes. Okay, so that's mostly what happens. So people will just stumble upon them. You're not going to make a living doing that, but you can definitely get through your first deal that way and get some funds, so you can do that. At the end of the day, I know this much. You are going to have to buy education. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. A lawyer can't be a lawyer without his education. A doctor can't be a doctor without his education. A plumber can't be a plumber without his education. It is the same way with buying houses. It is an actual craft, and you need to understand it. Okay, most of it's paperwork and sales. Maybe not so much sales, but it's definitely paperwork. and marketing.
I do think a lot of it's sales. It's sales and marketing. I think of it a lot, and paperwork. There's real estate has so much paperwork, so that's true. But no matter what you do in real estate, there's paperwork. But
Right.
yeah, I do think it's marketing and sales.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
So and it's not just normal sales like go to sales school. It's actually very delicate type sales, because the way we do sales is a consultative sale, and we use comparison sales. So it's kind of it's different than any other industry. So you just
Right.
need to know the ins and outs of that.
Right.
But the point is that you are going to have to be educated.
You are. I agree.
And you are going to have to, at some point, generate revenue to do your marketing. Now, I like to call them self-liquidating offers. In other words, you know that you're going to spend, $300 before you buy a house, right? But you spend $300 and then you make $15,000. You know what I mean? So it's a self-liquidating
Right.
offer. In other words, the offer is going to keep funding the marketing, right? So every time you get a check, you should take a little bit and put it aside for marketing to do the next deal. Now, lately, we've kind of got it dumbed way down, and it's. I mean, I'm spending about $400 or $500 a month on marketing. I mean, we need to ramp it up now that you're here, but it doesn't take much to get leads because we've done a good job of matching our message with our market.
I'm holding back because I can't keep up with the leads. I told you the other day I got a bottleneck.
Yeah.
I could do more. I could put ads out. I put a few signs that get calls. I don't put more signs out because I'm behind on my calls. And
Right.
It's stupid, but
Right.
it happens.
Exactly right.
Silly, but true.
So all that stuff you can learn as you go, but the trick is to get one deal. You get one deal, and you get through that one deal. Now the last thing I want to say, and then we're going to end off. If you were to do a lease option deal like you and I were talking about, and a rent to own deal like you and I were talking about, right? And I personally think that you could probably you can find 4, 5, 6 of them a year. I mean, if you worked, you actually did what I prefer, which is an hour a day of marketing, and an hour a day talking to your customers, or even a half an hour each, you would sooner or later something would happen. I mean, even if it's just combing the newspapers looking for rent ads and calling them, you could do something. That doesn't cost any money. You can call for sale by owners. That doesn't cost any money. Just make sure you have some of the scripts that we have, and you could do it. It doesn't cost any money. It does no experience. So what better way to get experience than to call for sale by owners, and that's how Peter started.
Yep.
Just call for sale by owners and start talking to them. You'll get experience. All right. So suppose you were to do 4, 5, or 6 rent-own deals, okay? And you're kind of flimbling along, and you're making $2,000, $3,000, or $4,000, or whatever deal, right? And you get a little bit of money. Now all of a sudden, a renovation falls under your lap, okay? And it's a hot deal. That's 40 cents on a dollar, and it falls into your lap. What do you think is going to happen when you go to your private lender and say, well, I've done 5 deals?
Well, I mean, your credibility goes, skyrockets with every single deal that you do.
Right.
So, right. Yeah.
So
your private lenders are always looking to know what kind of deals you're in. Not what you're in, but what you're doing.
want to know
and
you
that
have
you're
some
out.
experience.
Yeah, that's your experience.
they want to know their money is safe.
Right.
They want to know that their asset is going to come back to them, and you aren't
Right.
going to go screw it up.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Or better yet, how about the family that's around you that has some doubt that you may not do this?
That you
And you
may
start-
not buy it. Right.
That all of a sudden now you got 4 or 5 deals under your belt. Now they know you're for real. How about the spouse or the mother or the father? It's usually familiar, like family,
Right.
that are the doubters.
Yep.
But we'll push you through that. Just doing some rent to owns, doing some option deals, doing a slot deal. The top part of my chart is just for inexperienced people that have no money.
No.
And we use them because they fall in our lap.
Right. Well, they do. They do. I mean, even if you go in thinking you're going to rehab and you're buying everything from cash, ooh, my microphone's going crazy. You will find slot deals
Right.
and lease deals and
Right.
options and
Right.
because you just find a variety. People that call you just aren't always cash.
Right.
Sellers, cash
Exactly.
sellers. I guess we're the buyers. They're the sellers.
Yep.
So yeah, you will. It's you just need that many tools.
Good. Emma, we have any questions? Okay, good. So we're at the end of the show. Thank
We
you guys.
are. Wow.
Yeah. So Lisa will be joining us weekly from for quite a while now,
Yeah.
for some period. So we have a trio.
I think once a month I have a Thursday conflict, but other than that, I'm good.
Okay,
I may actually be able to change it, but
Good.
we'll see.
You miss all this.
I know it.
Peter's actually going away, so we're going to see if you can
Where are
fill
you
in on a
going?
couple things. The Bahamas. Oh, don't get
yes.
him started.
Oh yes, you actually
Don't get
were
him
telling
started.
me about it.
Don't get him started. He's been talking about it for like a
He's
year.
going to be going to an island,
Yeah.
never see again.
Yeah,
I
he's going
thought
to start
about-
a
They have
real
real
estate
estate
business
down
down there. He's
They
going
have
to
real
buy
estate down there.
50,000 pieces of property,
Hey,
and he's going to come back and tell me how the drinks were and how he actually drove around and looked at some properties, and that's what's going to happen.
and there's a lot of vacant ones, so
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
We saw vacant
Yeah,
houses.
yeah.
Yeah,
Been there, done that.
that's right.
So, Peter,
Yeah.
we have been working behind the scenes, and I know that we're an hour and 4 minutes in, and I probably shouldn't do this now, but I have to. Here's the surprise. Starting next week, we will not be live streaming in public anymore. I think we'll be live streaming in our Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've done is I've started a Coaching 101 group. It's Coaching 101.
Okay. Just like college.
So, yes. So, what it is if you go to flippinghouses.club, coaching, / coaching 101, right, Em? Yeah. So, it's flippinghouses.club / coaching 101. What I've done is I've set up a lot of training. I've put in it's a private Facebook group,
Mm-hmm.
and in there I've put all the things we talk about. One of which is my basic course on how to do marketing, which we normally charge $300 for.
Really?
So
That's in there?
I divulged everything.
You serious?
Yeah.
They're giving
It's-
it away at crazy bills.
Yeah. So it's in my Facebook group. So not only am I going to show you how to market and get these deals, I'm going to show you my scripts that I use to actually get the deals. And once a week at this time, in fact, we're not going to do it today, but from now on, we're going to end this show and we're going to do a Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call it, Emma? After
A post show.
post podcast.
Oh, post show.
A post podcast, yeah. So if we're going to record the podcast and then we're going to stop the show and then we're going to be in Facebook and we are going to coach you. That's why I wanted Lisa here. So we are going to answer any questions you have about deals you're doing. Okay. This costs $67 a month, which is ridiculously cheap. And the first month to try it out, I'll let you try it out for $1.
I'm in.
You are in.
You are in.
You already are in.
So
Wait,
you
well,
giving
that's
the marketing stuff you gave me that actually worked for me?
Yep,
That
yep.
you're giving that?
Yep.
That worked?
Yep.
And just to
For
clarify,
$1.
just to clarify,
Clarify.
it's a private fan page with a link to the private group. There are
Yes.
2 separate pages. You do have to click a link to go to the group to talk to Bill.
Yeah.
So there's a page with all the videos and all the training, and then there's lots of buttons on there to get to the group where you can talk to Bill.
So the object is they go
That's
through the
cool.
training, and then they go, if they have questions, they go to the face. So the training's on one page,
Yeah.
and underneath each training it says go to the Facebook private group, right? Is that what it says? Go to the Facebook, and you can go to the Facebook private group, and we are all, you, me, I think Lisa,
Yep.
Jesse, and Emma are in that group daily.
Mhm.
One of us will be in there daily,
Mm-hmm.
and we will answer any question that you may have, as well as questions that other students will ask questions, and you can see their questions as well, or they might have answers.
Oh, sure.
So we just started it, so there's not a big group in there. There will be. I'm just hoping after a couple months, because I don't know anybody that's doing this.
Mm.
It's a live forum
Mm.
where you actually get answers to your questions.
And that's where you'll find the podcast as well. It won't be on the fan page. It'll be in the private group.
Yes. Well, the podcast will always be in the podcast.
the
We're not gonna
live
change
stream.
that. The
The-
live
the
stream
li-
will be
the-
in the
This live stream will
Right.
be in the private group, not the fan page.
So once you is it confusing?
Can we have a chart?
It's a little confusing because will the podcasts also be in the Flipping Club website, or is that going away?
Yeah.
Are they like
no,
That's
all,
going
everything?
it's going away?
Well, the
No.
archive, the video is
Hang
going to
on.
be in the group.
I think
Okay.
you're confusing everybody. Hang on. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So nothing changes with the podcast.
Okay, so the Flipping Club.
The only thing we're talking about is the live streaming.
is the live streaming,
Is the video
is
portion
the-
of it.
post show.
And so the live streaming is going to be in the Facebook group,
Yep.
and the post show is going to be in the
In the
Facebook
Facebook.
group.
Okay,
But the podcast,
So that's a good
nothing.
distinction.
The
The audio.
website,
That's
the
a good- yeah.
the audio portion of it will still be exactly the same
We'll
way
be
it
on
is.
iTunes. We'll be on Android. We'll be
Right.
on flippinghouses.club/podcast.
Gotcha.
Right.
And that'll be a couple weeks in advance.
Okay.
So this show will be on flippinghouses.club/podcast in a couple weeks
Perfect.
as an audio.
So starting by the time this show goes, we will have been up and started, and you can start. You just go to flippinghouses/coaching101, and you get into the Facebook group. It is $67 a month, and the first 30 days you get for $1, so you can test it out.
It's well worth it. As somebody who put together the videos, every time he told me, "Oh, we're going to put this in there," you're putting that in there. That's like half of your business. So definitely, it's definitely worth it.
Now, if you take
It's gonna be
for
good.
that $1, if you take the marketing part and do it within the month, you'll need the rest
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because things will happen. It's crazy, but if you just do it,
Yep.
don't worry about all the details. Just get started.
Right.
Step 1, 2, 3.
All right, and so we're 10 minutes over, so I want to end the show. The last thing I'd like to say is if you enjoy our show, please go give us a review or a rating on iTunes. If you go to flippinghouses.club/podcast, all the podcasts are there, and there's a button where you can actually go to iTunes and actually do the ratings. So please give us a favorable review, or actually just give us a review. If you don't like us, then tell us. I'm cool with that. You don't have to. You can do either one. But just go to iTunes and give us a review, and you can find that at flippinghouses.club/podcast. Okay?
Sweet.
So, welcome, Lisa.
Well, thank
we
you.
didn't come up with a name for you yet, but
Oh,
we
yeah. We're over time. We'll have
will.
to think hard.
We'll have to worry about that.
We
People-
have to do something
people-
better than Lisa, Bo, Lisa, Banana. We have to do
Lisa,
something better than
Lisa, yeah. It's like
Banana. Where did he come up with banana?
He's
Lisa,
doing
Lisa,
like
Bo,
Vofana,
Banana,
Fee5,
Banana,
yeah.
Fee5. We'll have to come up with something better than
Lisa is a band, right?
that. It was a song.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Whatever.
All right,
But
guys. So
we'll think
over
of
and out.
something.
Show number 53 is in
Yeah, a new year
the
of
book.
shows.
In
Party
the
next
book.
week.
Yes.
Oh boy,
All right.
here we go.
Jeez.
All right, see you guys next week.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.